welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch League. I'm Mitch Leslie here with Morello. We've already seen a fantastic matchup today. The battle of expansion teams. A lot of questions about who was going to rise to the top in the new offering here. But now we take another look at maybe at the old guard a little bit more. New York versus Los Angeles. And again, this is a rematch of our Stage 4 finals of last season.
Yeah, you know, the Valiant came on really about halfway through the year. You know, when they make that trade, they get Custa, right? You know, Custa for Unco. Unco goes to the Dallas Fuel. Custa goes over the Valiant. That's when they really started to play better. You also, you know, you had Space come in, take over that off-tank role. And then that's where you saw the Valiant start to pick up some steam going into that Stage 4. NYXL, they were so good all year long. The Stage 4 is really kind of where their downfall starts.
I think both these teams display a lot of structure, right? They seem very disciplined. I think another addition that we didn't really talk about, I guess, is Izayaki into the Los Angeles Valiant. This guy, obviously, he's an up-and-comer. Definitely a future rising star. I mean, it's kind of crazy not to call Jonak the same thing because he was a rookie before he come into the Overwatch League, but these two, again, that's going to be an interesting head-to-head to take a look at today.
Yeah, you see the stats pretty similar across the board. I do want to say, though, Jonak, 16% of first team fight elimination. That's actually kind of crazy considering he's playing Zen and how many shields there are with, like, you know, Zarya has a personal bubble, Reinhardt has his big shield, you know, Diva defense mage. It's kind of crazy you're able to pick up that many kills in the first fights. But Izayaki, you can see his numbers. I mean, coming on to the scene really as a rookie here with the Valiant. I know Overwatch League rookie is, he's been quite impressive.
Yeah, and remember, this is a move that was valued very highly by the Valiant, a move that precipitated Custa's transition, you know, over towards that main support role towards the end of last season and into this season. So a lot of expectations. Whenever you talk to the guys on the Valiant, they said this guy is a young prodigy, he's going to make a huge impact, and so far, he's looked very good. You put anyone next to Jonak, Matt, and they're not going to look stellar by comparison, but they're definitely both looking up there.
Yeah, and I think he's a little bit of a, like, obviously you had, you know, Kariv and Unco on this team. I think he's a much different player like that, a really aggressive Zenyatta, and I think it's going to take time for the Valiant to figure out how to play around him.
Well, first of all, it's time to reintroduce ourselves to one of the biggest heavyweights in the Overwatch League. Welcome, everybody, to the NYXL. Big brains, huge fan base, a very disciplined, a slow team, they're super deliberate. I think the NYXL give up the least amount of sort of eliminations early on in fights. In fact, 70% of the time in general, they're getting that first elimination. It's very hard to find picks against this roster.
It's quite interesting. In a meta where you have to play really aggressive, you know, New York, they've always played as like a defensive team, more reactionary, right? Where they want to see what you're coming at, and then they want to identify mistakes in your push or, you know, somebody out of position, and then jump. Look at Nene, I know, in the Zarya role to really put down some serious damage this match.
He's been a huge performer. I think Mecco's shown us a little bit of his Sombra last week or previously, and that definitely looked like it was very impactful. This is a team that maybe hasn't completely steamrolled both their matches, of course. We've seen them, you know, more recently go up against, I would say, sort of mid-table teams. Obviously, they went up against the Washington Justice. They look pretty comfortable there. But it's time to meet their opponent, ladies and gentlemen. Wings out for the Los Angeles Valiant. Led by Space, who in my opinion is just one of the most effective leaders for his age in the Overwatch League. Guy's got an incredibly cool head on his shoulder. And look at that, bringing up the rear, it's Custa.
All right, so this is a little bit of a different look. We saw them play Kuki in that main support. Last week, we weren't really sure on how Custa was going to fit into this lineup, but you see him come out here and they're starting 6.
That face is so good. It looks like
yeah,
like 7 p.m. on Australia Day. That's that kind of face. Good to see him in this lineup. My understanding, having sort of, you know, chatting with him back and forth, he'll expecting to get a little bit more play time on those control maps, those first ones in the series. Obviously, mostly moving over to a Lucio role here, and that's essentially what his team required of him. He's been working very hard on it. He said to me, I'm quite happy with where my Lucio is at right now. There's been a lot of speculation about perhaps why, you know, Kuki was thrown in the mix instead of him. People have raised the idea of communication or how calling goes in these heavy tank, heavy support comps.
And I thought Kuki was good last week. I don't really think like you make this change because Kuki played poorly. I think you make it because maybe you want to try and get figure out a way to get Custa into the lineup. You know, make it, because he was so important to this team last year, right? Just like shot calling, leadership. He's really kind of like the face of the Valiant when you think about it. it's kind of weird to have him just kind of sitting on the bench as like in a cheerleader role. You got to figure out a way to use him.
Well, look, for a roster as well, who's fairly young and average age, is an important figure of leadership, I think, on that team. Yeah. He's a little bit older, a little bit more senior. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, here's your map set presented by Toyota, and it's time to gaze over these maps and think back, of course, the Valiant, a very close affair against the Hangzhou Spark previously, went to all 5 maps. Fate really looked like he was tested, looked very good in those first few maps. Nepal is what we're heading back to, so this is actually the map 5 from that Hangzhou Spark matchup that the Valiant ultimately lost. A chance to redeem themselves early here in the series.
Yeah, I think when you look on the NYXL side of things, they don't really have to make any adjustments with this roster to play anything. We've seen Meko play Semmler at a high level. You know Libero can play so many different heroes as we've seen in the past. And then Nene, you know, he's playing Zarya right now, but we've seen him play DPS. So you don't really know what NYXL is going to throw at you.
On XL2, and Nene was playing, you know, quite a few different things. Nene right now, statistically, I can sort of let you in on this information, statistically appears to be the strongest performing Zarya in the league. Now, you take that with a pinch of salt because the NYXL went up, obviously, against Boston and then against the Washington
Let's see a little bit more before we kind of...
Right, we need some more granular data, perhaps. Yeah. But again, we know we can do a bunch of different things. NYXL just looking solid still. No one really doubting him yet at this stage. And the Valiant have had some tough matchups here. I can already see Custom mouthing off down there on the stage. Very loud. Already rallying the troops. It's time to get started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get out of the gates here on Nepal.
You know, maybe Custa can give a little bit of like a hometown advantage, right? The fans get hyped up seeing Custa again. He comes in, gives a little bit more energy to the Valiant as obviously Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. A little bit of home field advantage every game here for the Valiant.
Joe not quite the fire starter, according to that statistics. Thanks, Planet. NYXL, they rotate around to the point. Mecha's already taken a little bit of damage here, but they want to start butting heads. Fate very low, focusing down the main tank of the Valiant are NYXL, and it works out perfectly. Fate is bowled over, helps, of course, the Discord orb of Joe Nark, and now he can sit comfortably back as the Valiant are going to get pushed off.
You're not going to win any team fights when you take that much damage on the way in. There were like 3 or 4 players for the LA Valiant at about like half HP coming into that fight. At the top of your screen, everybody for NYXL, they were all topped up. They just, at that point, they just become aggressive. They just push right through. Mono already with an Earth Shatter here. Fate at 20% because he dies so early. He's going to double him up. He's going to maybe get this Shatter off and then get another one right after.
I mean, you can afford to be so aggressive here. That's the rally from the Valiant. They want to fight 2. Big Earth Shatter, though. The backline knocked down. It was Izzyaki, Kareem in space. All getting stunned up in that passage. Mono still half health, gets a bubble. Now he knows he can get aggressive once more. Not finding too much on that foray, but the NYXL are happy to disengage for now. Jonak will be able to come in with the Transcendence if things get dicey, and the Valiant need a breather.
Yeah, I mean, for NYXL, you can use the Graviton Surge that Nene's going to get to build another Shatter. Let's see, Kareem with a grab of his own. There comes down, it's going to be the Transcendence that comes out from Jonak. Trying to keep everybody typed up. Nice pin there from Fate to get Libero out of it.
Space also very low when that fight started. Self-destruct, it finds agilities. And of course, Jonak along the peripheries found a headshot on Kareem. And the Valiant have not much to work with at all in this fight. You saw the push in. Graviton Surge from the Valiant. Space ran into that fight. But because there's not a lot of burst healing available to the Valiant, Space had to run in at about 40% of his total health. It wasn't a very durable or very healthy Valiant squad at the start of the fight.
Yeah, the only kill that the Valiant get during that is when Fate charges into the Graviton Surge, just trying to pin somebody out of the Transcendence healing and connects with Libero, and you're able to take him out. Otherwise, you got nothing on the board there for the Valiant.
Just watch those health bars and then listen out for that Brigitte rally sound. That's when you know that the fights are about to come to a head. Again, the Valiant have to make a play here. The Valiant's going to take the fight to them, gets aggressive. Samberry comes in. Earthshadow only fights Custer right now. And the Valiant are able to push forward just a little bit more. Meko, D-Meko now is self-destruct thrown onto the point by the Valiant. Will clear some space. Mano again gets himself a Zarya bubble and wants to pressure forward just a little bit more. He needs to get aggressive, and Agilities has to shield bash defensively to get out of the way. But it's a good little clap back. Mano went low. Look at the Orb of Discord on Mano for just a brief moment. And now the Graviton Surge. Everyone will be caught up in that one, and finally the Valiant find a way to break through.
You know, it didn't look great for the Valiant at the beginning of that fight, Mitch. You know, NYXL, they engage really early. We see Mono get the bubble, and he just goes in and starts swinging. The Valiant are forced to sound barrier, probably a little bit earlier than they would have liked to, but it's that big D-mech they get onto Meko, getting the Diva out of the mech on the side of NYXL, and then they're able to push on through right after that. You're not worried about your Graviton Surge getting eaten or anything like that.
Transcendence from Izzyaki, something you need to look out for in this next fight. The Valiant just need to get it off cleanly. They should be comfortable in the face of the Graviton that will come from Nene. If it's eaten, then that's another different story. But look at the damage, look at this poke damage. The Valiant are taking from an otherwise quite close-range team. Jonak really a big part of that. Here comes the push, though, again. Rally being used. NYXL this time want to start the fight off this way. Mano plays safe around the middle pillar here, but he definitely looks to finish off the fight. Transcendence comes in, Mano tries to get a pin. Earthshatter doesn't quite work out, and Izayaki gets to use the Transcendence. Mano forced right on back, he's able to stay alive, and Jonak's very close to his own trans now. The Valiant go for their second support onto the fight. Sound barrier, oh, Nene is low, he doesn't get out alive. Space finds him with the self-destruct, a big piece of the puzzle missing for the NYXL, and that's that sound barrier. But they're missing Neto and Libero at that point. Only 4 players get topped up by that Lucio, and it's not gonna be enough to keep NYXL in the fight.
And I'm quite surprised that NYXL decided to invest the sound barrier there towards the end. They're already down like 2 or 3 players. They end up using that sound barrier. You hold it for this next fight, you would have had sound barrier and rally coming back in versus just Transcendence on the other side. Would have been a pretty, a fight you would favor NYXL, especially considering it may be the last one.
Over the top will NYXL come. Again, tough to really find a pick for them here. They don't have any huge ultimates. They need to ride the wave of the rally into this fight and hope to get through. The Valiant, though, Transcendence, Shadow's on the way. Graviton isn't far off for Kareev, especially if he gets charged. Now the NYXL have to go in because they've lost control. That's the rally. Fate gets Earthshattered. Huge one. Custom knocked to the ground. I think it was a full team Earthshatter there. The Valiant somehow still managed to survive through it, and they're going to push on. I cannot believe they get back on their feet after that one. Izayaki saved them big time. And the Valiant wash over this fight. It's all green in the kill feed, and 1-0 on the map. Unbelievable stuff. Big shatter. Still doesn't get the job done for NYXL. Hoo-wee! We've got another round of this one at least to come. We'll see you guys after the break. Quite the climax to shrine their match, especially with the Valiant managing to walk away from that fight, which looked like it started so well for New York.
Yeah, it was a huge shatter there from Mono, and then I know I caught it on the screen, is that, they're getting stuck in the Graviton Surge. The players from NYXL try and walk their way towards the point, and Fate actually turns and counter shatters out of that grab. As you see both teams coming out here, mirror matchup, as they're both going to try and pressure for the high ground.
Agility's always takes a lot of damage early. Mono catches him with the hammer, and that was short-lived indeed. Early picks for the NYXL as they really push forward with that Lucio speed boost.
It's like almost the exact same start as we had at the last point. It's like at the beginning, the LA Valiant just take way too much damage. NYXL, they react, seeing that their health bars are low, they push right on through. Not scared at all. As Mono in this game so far, Mitch, he's getting a shatter every 54 seconds, which is quite unreal. But then on the other side, Izayaki's getting Transcendence in under a minute. Too. I mean, these players just building their ultimates so fast.
Transcendence from Izayaki. A big factor saving the Valiant in that previous map. Look at this again, so much damage. Watch those health bars go down. Mane might have got caught a little bit too far forward. Meko tried to bail him out of jail there by booping the Valiant back. Just a little bit too late here. Mano had Earthshatter, of course, as he's building it so darn quickly. But now the Valiant have a player advantage heading into this fight. Nene, he had the shield, but he's taken a lot of damage already. Again, Agilities goes down early for the Valiant. But they'll still hold on, and now they can stagger this fight out a little bit to see that, yeah, they'll keep Meko alive.
The Valiant have to be careful, though. I mean, you can't have Agilities go down to like half health at the beginning of every fight. Because, Brig, obviously, the ultimate is so important, Rally providing the armor, everybody, but also it's just that burst heal onto your Reinhardt. Like, if your Brig is low and has to back up, and you start putting pressure on the Rein and the Discord comes down, you're almost going to get a 2-for-1 in that scenario. You're going to get both of them.
And that's the only burst heal you have outside of Transcendence, right? Is that repair pack from your Brigitte.
You don't want to burn Transcendence on something like that.
Absolutely not. Graviton for Kareev, he's thinking about it. He'll know that Meko will be looking for the eat, though. Here's the push. Earthshatter Mane gets it off, but he gets taken down immediately. I think it was just space that was actually impacted by that one. Not a lot to write home about if you're an NYXL fan. And the Valiant again, star cold.
Yeah, I mean, you lose the Reinhardt right after the Shatter, Discord, and then you're just able... And Mono is quite low when he goes for the Shatter. And now you come back if you're NYXL. You know, the Valiant just building up percentage. This has really been one-sided towards the Valiant. I mean, you see NYXL with 34%, but they only got it because they won that first fight.
Honestly, that seemed uncharacteristic from Mono to Shatter when he was so low and from so far away. Fate needs to be careful. Discord orb was briefly applied. He lost half himself. That's the big Shatter, though! It's going to be Transcendence brought into the fight by Jonak, but then the follow-up is there. The Graviton Surge, Self-Destruct, you name it, LA have got it. And then they went down to Space's bomb. Animo can't get away. Chased down by Agilities. Great setup from Fate.
And this is, we're in last fight territory here. Is the NYXL, they'll have a sound barrier coming into the next fight. You're probably going to get a Shatter. And you think Mono lives long enough, puts down enough damage to get a Shatter, then Libero will have the Rally. You have Rally and Transcendence here for the Valiant, and I think, you know, with the way these fights go, Fate 67% towards the Shatter, he's going to get one. You see it's going to be a quick engage here for NYXL. They're going to use Sound Barrier just to get the point.
Both Ryans have that Shatter here. The Valiant play safe. They allow the NYXL to take control of the point, but the fight, oh, it's far from done. Mono here just trying to give his team at least half of the point to stand in Fate. Oh, big chuck down. He gets Aya bubbled rather hastily, but he can't really come forward. That's another big Shatter. Mono blocks that one this time, and Libero goes down, charging the wall from Mono. He's discorded, but also Harmony by his own team. Fate hits him with the Fire Strike. Meko trying to commit to this point, but he has a Discord orb. Izayaki just sits back, lazily tosses orbs in his general direction. It was just Fate to go down, but a late grab is going to secure this one for the Valley. They have the numbers, and they have the room to breathe. Full hold here for the Valiant as they catching things out. NYXL being sent packing in map 1.
I really love how the Valiant played that towards the end. They saw the sound barrier in rally invested by NYXL. They backed out, came back in with their own support ultimates to take the point.
And there you have it. Map 1 in the books here. A repeat, perhaps, of last season's stage. Finals in stage 4. The Valiant were on top. We'll see some more for these guys after the break.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Thanks for joining us again, ladies and gentlemen. The Valiant and the NYXL both opting to play that Reinhardt-centric, triple tank, triple support composition. Seemed to work quite well for the Valiant in the end. I think Fate's happy to get to play that instead of maybe the Winston that we saw him play so much of prior. Yeah. But again, the Zen battles, they were very real.
Yeah, we touched on it, coming into this series. Izayaki versus Jonak. In the first map, Izayaki was sick, man. He was just laying down so much damage, and you see the damage a little bit favoring over towards Jonak, but Izayaki, he doesn't die barely at all here on map number 1. Only 2 deaths. You see the damage amplified a little bit higher there, landing down those discords quite often.
What is your take on this huge disparity in healing done from Jonak? He has a considerable lead there.
I mean, you see the Transcendence healing.
Yep.
You know, it kind of favors Jonak a little bit. And also
25% per Transcendence.
Yeah, I mean, it was something NYXL did last year where they just kind of leave the healing orb on one guy. You know, last year it was like Sabiel B got the Orb of Harmony quite often. And then, you know, you can build up a lot of healing and just leave it on some of the tanks. So I think it's just kind of orb placement and how your team decides to use orb. Do you want to move it around quite often, or do you want to just leave it on one target and then leave the main support to heal some of the others?
One thing that we're kind of stuck on talking about in that last map was like watching the health bars before the fight starts. You know, are both teams committing to an engagement where they're fully topped up? And you saw multiple times, especially the Valiant had to go into these fights, you know, with some of their players at 50% or lower health. And, you know, guys like Jonak are out there just doing a lot of damage with the burst, obviously with the volley of orbs, and also the charged up Zayas. You know, one right click can really chunk down your health bar if you have a lot of that charge. So, you know, that is definitely something to keep an eye on, is that, yes, these compositions, not specifically great at long range. I mean, we don't have, like, Widowmakers and there's no sniper characters there, but there's a lot of work being done pre-fight to set these up.
Yeah, I think, though, like, if your Zarya's charged, you can start to play around your Zen a little bit more as they chunk them down. Zakusta will go out. Kuki will come in. So we saw Kuki quite a lot last week, you know, in the main support role. It's actually a main tank last year. And then KSF will come in for Karib, which is quite interesting. As you know, Karib was this flex support player, also played DPS, who this season it seemed like he's going to be playing DPS all the time. It seems like, you know, at least speaking from him, you get the vibes like he would have liked to be a flex support. But, you know, KSF was a signing they had last year, about halfway through the year, where they retooled the Valiant. So we'll get to see, you know, how they try and incorporate him this season.
It seemed like a player they were looking to develop and build up. Izayaki, maybe in the same vein, was, you know, a new or a younger prospect that they wanted to give some game time, some practice. But now, KSF, this isn't his first time on stage this season.
I think he probably had you know, a bigger role in mind for Izayaki, though. Like, I think KSF you probably picked up and you thought it was a project, you know, maybe for the long term, he'd get some game time. I don't know if you really game plan for him to be part of, like, the everyday rotation of players. But I think with the Valiant DPS, I think you're just trying to figure out, you know, who works in certain situations with certain other players on different maps, and we'll see how he plays here on Hollywood.
Absolutely. What's the ideal permutation? We talked a little about Kuki coming in here, and, you know, our assessment, I think, from last week and his, you know, his first stint was it was good. It wasn't bad. Like, you cannot look at his stats and go, this wasn't good. Which is a good sign with the Valiant, which means they can throw a couple different looks. If that changes their communication structure for the better, then it makes perfect sense.
And we've seen some players in the Overwatch League go from, like, you know, DPS to main tank, flex support to main tank, like, and really it just hasn't worked for anyone.
Yes.
Where I feel like, you know, at least with Kuki, you know, in a first showing, you know, minimal amount of time, it was one of the better positional changes we've seen. So we'll see how it works out in the long term. You know, Kuki, very smart player. You know, a lot of teams, you know, when Seoul Dynasty's kind of like breaking up at the end of last year, and, you know, they kind of thought like maybe he'd be a free agent. A lot of teams were interested in him, and, you know, maybe they saw something where they keep him at main tank. Maybe it was something like the Valiant thought they could use him in multiple roles or different roles. So it's cool to see some players, you know, getting a look on other roles a little bit outside of the box.
You're going to have the Los Angeles Valiant on the attack to begin Hollywood, and there's probably nothing that really should surprise you about either of these two team compositions. Both these teams are measured, methodical, patient, and they're going to go with the most robust approach possible. You know, it will be Reinhardt-based triple tank, triple support. So, you know, we just see all Kuki. See, that's that burst damage at the start of these fights that can really hamstring a team before they even get within striking distance.
And it's hard. I mean, you can't go in with your Lucio low. That's going to be a perfect opportunity. NYXL, they would just speed boost bubble mono and just send him in as like an assassin. Just go swing through the Lucio in the back. That's what the Valiant are trying to do. They don't really want to just go in through the choke here. You're going to get hit by like a major fire strike. So
I think they're trying to force a rotation, but look how quickly the NYXL dropped down when they saw the Valiant switching around the point. And then when the Valiant back up, they go back up to the high ground themselves.
Like they know NYXL has a staircase there too, right? Like, it's not like they have to go all the way around. So now the Valiant still trying to rotate around. Nene with it, trying to boost here to the top of the cafe. 0 for 2.
Fight again, taking a huge amount of damage. Discord Orb goes a long way. Nene finishes off the kill. The Valiant are down to 5 players now, and they realize they really haven't gotten the start that they were looking for. Nene continuing just to zap them down with a solid 90 charge, and Agilities is just going to get staggered here a little bit.
I feel like every time we're on with Nene, he's full charge.
Yep.
The guy always sitting at like above 80% charge, but I think I want to talk a little bit about the compositions here, at least, Mitch. You know, on offense, you know, you kind of look, you either go like something that's DPS heavy, space just switches over to get a mech back. They go with the Reinhardt base comp here, so the Reinhardt 3-3. I think on defense, you could play the Winston base 3-3 composition. That kind of deters the other team from going over to DPS heavy compositions. But on a map like this where you expect Reinhardt on offense, I think you can safely come out here with the Reinhardt D.
Yeah, I also think that both teams are probably just fairly comfortable playing that way. No Fade likes a bit of Ryan. So again, the Valiant, it's a similar approach. They try and move around the point, flank it out. Transcendence had to come out from Jonak there. We saw that a couple of his frontliners were a little bit low on health. That self-destruct's going to be nasty. It is! Meko gets himself a quick 3 and a mech to boot. And the Valiant are nothing but dust, ashes, and sadness.
It's like, you know, I feel like, remember back when like you would just like nano boost like a Genji and like they just dash through everybody and you saw it coming, but it's still crazy to watch. Like seeing the self-destruct just go up in the sky and the Reinhardt just get like pinned or knocked out of the way and seeing players there, you know the result. It's so satisfying.
Oh, look at this. Hold that thought. NYXL really want to start the fight. They jump on Izayaki early, but it was actually Mano going down first. The NYXL might actually get punished here for their aggression. As KSF has the Graviton locked and loaded, he knows there's a Diva above and behind him, so he needs to be careful about how he lets this one go. But that's an Earth Shatter for 3! The KSF's going to follow it up now. Soundbarrier might be a little bit sad, a little bit late in the day for that one. And the rest of the Valiant can push on in. And they will have themselves point A now. It's a matter of cleaning Meko off. A lot of work required, but in the end, it was NYXL that gave them this opening.
Yeah, they dropped down. I think they tried to catch the Valiant off guard as Valiant was coming in, and they decided to use their rally. Maybe they thought they could jump down, catch them off guard, not allow them to build up some of that armor. The Valiant will take the point, unlock the payload as we move into the second stage of the map. The Valiant now with their own, you know, grab, self-destruct combo to use here. A lot of different areas, though, where you can hide for NYXL here on defense. You can get into some of the buildings. You
can see that New York, they're aware of their lack of support ultimates right now. They're playing back. They're not trying to push up into the choke and get an aggressive fight start with a Transcendence or a Sound Barrier. They do have the former now. Jonak ready to ult when required. KSF, oh, what is he trying to do? He's walking up like that to try and bait something, a move away from the NYXL. He doesn't use the Graviton, and he forces NYXL back.
He's buying the Valiant a ton of space just by moving up like that. They have to back out. Oh, it doesn't even matter. Meko's so good.
I can't believe it. Here's the Transcendence now coming out from New York. They realize there's an opening in this fight, a chance to take advantage. Graviton surge, and a self-destruct will go up here. That's the chance they're looking for. Kukin the only one to go down. The Sound Barrier and breaking line of sight, helping the Valiant stay vital. But eventually they will be cut down. Not all of them are going to be able to get away. They're going to feed over some of that extra ult percent. And the Valiant think back. They're going to file that KSF play under things you hate to see.
Oh, and the Graviton Surge, such an important ultimate in this meta, and I know to have one eaten. And he was doing a fantastic job, KSF, of just trying to like bait Meko to use all of his defense
just
matrix.
The threat of the ultimate was enough to force New York back, because they said, well, we have a 2-second cooldown on our defense matrix. We can't use it up right now, so we just need to sort of jockey back. He was getting results for the Valiant purely by being there, by menacing.
The reaction time from Meko is sick, by the way, to fly in and be able to get that before it connects to any object and just, because they were just going to...
Oh, that's pick!
Okay.
It's Jonak as well! Nobody picks the God King and gets away with it, but he gets another one! He finds his second! He wants a little bit more to self-destruct here from New York and deter it and try and push the Valiant back, but they have none of it! Meko just punched into next Tuesday. And that's what a Zenyatta finding those first kills can do for you. Against this kind of competition, that is not an easy feat.
It's like, with all the shielding and healing, it's like, how do you find those picks there? And you know, Jonak is playing, you know, a little bit close to, you know, the front, where, you know, he's right around Mono. He was up by the cart there. He gets picked off, but man, Izayaki gives him 2 free kills.
The Valiant trying to take space away from the NYXL, not letting them stretch their legs much. Nene was caught by Izayaki yet again, despite the Transcendence being a factor. Earthshatter, that's a huge one. 5 people knocked down to the side of the Valiant, and now Anamo can follow Mano's charge in. As Izayaki will be taken down, and the NYXL at least get to play outside of the Gulch Studios and get a bit of room. Fight's not done, they will chase these kills down, and the Valiant need to be turning tail now.
I think, though, if you're the Valiant, you have to have a, you know, an idea of the ultimate economy. KSF needs to drop a little late.
He's trying to charge his grab there, I think, at the end of the fight.
You'll be able to get back here. You know, Space may be the one that needs to get a touch, and he's quite low, but he's got a self-destruct to, buy him a new mech, get back on the point. But they have the advantage in terms of support ults here, Mitch, if they can get on the point and get a fight.
New York's doing exactly what they need to do, standing on the objective when playing the point. Fake takes a huge amount of damage as he approaches the payload, but the Transcendence smooths that one over nicely. They can't be forced off now. Both teams looking for an opening. It's going to be a self-destruct to start things off. Agilities has to back away, and Kuki was caught out by that one. The Valiant can't afford that kind of kill at this stage, and now faded KSF knocked to the ground. Mano lines up a charge and knocks his opposite number into next week. It'll be Space to get desuited here, and the NYXL had to start to the fight. They had the numbers, they had to finish. And now it's just Space trying to stall things out. He gets his mech back, interestingly, but it'll take a little bit of attention away from Izayaki, but just for a moment. And that will be where the payload stops for the Valiant. A little bit shorter than they otherwise would have liked. They get through most of the Wild West phase. Then a little bit of a bot start to the fight hurts them. Just what gave them the advantage was that first pick on Jonak. Then they give one over in the form of Kuki and lose the fight. Next half of Hollywood, right around the corner. Well, the Los Angeles Valiant looking a little flummoxed at the end of that previous round. This is about as far as they got, which is, it's not terrible, Matt, but they really would have liked that extra checkpoint.
Yeah, and I think it really starts to fall apart where Kuki dies to this self-destruct. So let's get a look from his POV on how it got done.
It's a little gap. It's rough. Now, you can break line of sight normally happily enough, but perhaps it was just out there. No, now, like I say this a lot.
It's a game of inches.
Yeah, I overuse this phrase all the time, but I actually do hate to see that because, he was cognizant of where the self-destruct would be. He just kind of got wrecked. So the Valiant now need to double down on their defensive efforts here. We're going to have a Winston 3-3 setup here on defense.
And this is to prevent any type of, quad DPS, triple DPS on the other side. Libero probably just, seeing what's out there on the Widowmaker, he'll go back and swap. I think you make that swap as soon as you see that they're running 3 tanks, 3 supports with the Winston.
Doesn't this Winston, though, have a disadvantage against the Reinhardt in the head-to-head?
So you can get punished pretty quickly, though, if your Winston's out of position. I think we've seen Philadelphia probably do it the best thus far. So you see Space, he gets demech, but that's because he's trying to protect Fate. Fate at like half HP that entire first fight.
Whatever the reason was, Matt, the Valiant are down a player. And that could hurt them now. They need to double down and try and find some more picks, but instead they just hand them over on a silver platter. It feels so risky to come in with that Winston-based 3-3. And the NYXL definitely able to exploit the holes in the Valiant's approach.
It is definitely much riskier than the Reinhardt comp. They're just trying to prevent any type of DPS on the other side. But you can't have Fate go that low early because then that forces Space to overextend probably a little bit more than he would have liked. Then he ends up getting demacked, and then it's, they just kind of run on through them at that point. It's like, now if you're the Valiant, you're working on nothing in terms of ult charge with Fate here on the Reinhardt. You probably want to take a fight close, get them to invest some ultimates to get the payload moving through the second part of the map, and then come back with a nice ultimate advantage. You're really just trying to swing the ultimates in your favor.
Mykles gets on the high ground, though. Again, defense matrix out just to make sure he eats anything that might go past. It was Kuki to find the first pick. So Libero being down, the NYXL don't really want to take this one. Again, there's a bit of risk associated with them walking forward and trying to start a fight without Libero's rally to buffer them and keep them nice and topped up. But now they're back with 6 and it's go time. They have 6 ultimates to spend, Matt.
Yeah, that was almost best case scenario for the Valiant. You're going to be enough time to build up all 3 support ults in Graviton Surge. Your Space, though, getting so low. So much damage coming out from Nene. There's the grab.
Yeah, he may have downed how charged up Nene was, and that's going to be the Earth Shadow to follow up. Oh, no! Yep. Yeah, everyone's going to die to that. Pretty much the way it happens. Again, they were knocked down, they were boofed away. There was no protection for the Valiant. And in all fairness, the NYXL invest quite a few of those shock and awe teamfight winning ultimates very early on in this Wild West phase.
I mean, you do have a self-destruct and a shatter combination here. for the Valiant. Like, if you can get that self-destruct in the sky, you know, force Mono to kind of look up with the shield and then land like a big shatter, maybe connect with a few.
And then a pressuring space constantly, not let him come forward with more than half health.
Defense matrix is huge, right, to keep the Reinhardt alive.
Okay, Neko goes in, sets up on the high ground once more. Sound barrier from the Valiant here, and NYXL very deftly disengaged. The Valiant look a little put out. They would have actually liked to have fought there at the height of their power, but now the NYXL can come forward. They have a sound barrier, they have a graviton surge. The Valiant are missing Fate and KSF, and it's all gone wrong for Los Angeles. Now Libero and Co can just push forward a little bit further, and a Transcendence desperately committed to the point. Animo getting a double melee kill. You see some crazy things at the end of some of these fights, and this will be quite a short affair. Wrapped up pretty quickly by the NYXL to even the series. Oh man, that was fast.
Yeah, NYXL really dominated the Valiant there on map number 2. It was all Valiant in map number 1, but NYXL, they fought back. Animo out of death there on the Lucio, and that main support role staying alive. We're all tied up going into the half. We'll see you right after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
It's a tie game between the NYXL and the LA Valiant. As here we go, knotted up, 1-1. And take a look at this, one of many Meko bombs that have gone down in the first half. Welcome back, everybody. Malik here with Soe and Bren. Since we are playing a 3-3 composition, a lot of good play from both tank and support positions. Let's start with the tank play, though. A lot of stuff standing out for you guys, right?
Yeah, Fate has really honestly been impressing me, actually, in general. This guy has been popping off in the first map in particular. He's been getting insane efficiency of his Earth Shatters in particular, which you don't normally see, right? When you play the triple tank, triple support comps, the trouble is with that is you get an Earth Shatter off. Normally, if you get one kill with that, that's actually good value. This is the one thing that people need to learn, actually, when watching this style of Overwatch now, is that these teams are so good that it's hard to actually get any sort of kills when you get an Earth Shatter down, because the supports are usually there with their ultimates. So the fact that he's even managing to get 1 or 2 kills with these Earth Shatters, very impressive from me.
Right, even the fact that he's able to ground so many people to me is flabbergasting. I remember I was making a comment in the back, like he was teammates with a lot of these guys during World Cup, so I wonder if he got the download with, you know, just playing with those guys. But let's talk a little bit more about the support play. More namely, the key matchup between Izayaki and Jonak, which has been a lot of fun to watch so far.
It has, and it was actually really surprising. I mean, we're always hype him up, right? Jonak, the man. He's the best
MVP.
in the league, the MVP.
Right.
But Izayaki went toe-to-toe. And the reason why this is so impressive is that the whole team of New York is actually playing around Jonak. They give him the space, they support him so much and enable him to put out those big numbers. Izayaki doesn't have that support. He is not having his team playing around him, and yet he managed, when we're looking at the stats, to actually go toe-to-toe and even outplay Jonak in a few of those
Could this be a passing of the guard?
Honestly, it's actually kind of crazy that you even say that, right? Because I was reflecting on this, on the Izzyaki-Jonak matchup that we're hyping up here. It is insane the amount of flex support players that we've got that are of this high of a caliber now in the Overwatch League. But look at these statistics here. Yes, Jonak is leading in a lot of these categories, but as Zoe mentioned earlier, he is getting the complete support of his team, whereas Izzyaki is being left on his lonesome. So this is what makes it so much more impressive, is the fact that he is actually, again, holding his own against this dominant player, Jonak. You know, he was the MVP last year. Very impressive. I think he's a star player for Valiant and 100% one that you can build around.
Right, so, you know, the NYXL in that last map, they look like they pretty much outclassed the LA Valiant altogether. So how do the LA Valiant respond here in the second half and, you know, possibly come out with the victory?
I think it comes down to cleaning up their triple tank, triple support play. And I know that's a very generic answer, but honestly,
Yes.
from what I've seen from that second map, that's what New York Excelsior did. They cleaned up their play from that first map. They're playing a lot more surgical. They're not wasting ultimates like they did in the first map when it came to that Nepal section. So realistically now, Valiant need to step up their game overall. I can't pin it down to one person because it's disingenuous to pin it down onto one person on Valiant to be the problem in this regard. It's the whole team that needs to really step it up.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to really know what to focus on. Jonak is basically untouchable for most of the times when he's playing against New York. Meko had a lot of space to make things work, and just the general teamwork of New York was pretty spot on. So they need to kind of figure out a way of splitting them up more and getting those crucial pickups early on.
All right, well, the LA Valiant going for that first win. Will they be able to pull it off? We'll find out in just a bit.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
It's an oldie, but it's a goodie, ladies and gentlemen. The NYXL take on the Los Angeles Valiant. Halftime just now gone, and we saw 1-1 over that first half here. Look, I'll be honest with you, night and day between these two teams. Map 1, the control looked very good for the Valiant. They seemed like they had a good command of playing that Reinhardt-centric 3-3 comp. But then we went over towards Hollywood, and did not look so good for the Valiant.
I mean, NYXL just kind of crushed through on Hollywood. We have some subs coming in here. So Kareev will come back in to the lineup here for the Valiant as KSF will go out. So KSF comes in for the one mount. The one mount, pretty quick, goes right back out. Kareev comes right back into the lineup.
What do you think about KSF? What's your report card grade for him on that previous map? All things considered, of course.
It wasn't great. Obviously going up against NYXL is tough. We talk about how important Zarya is in this meta, and Nene was just unreal on that map. I believe KSF only finishes with 7 elims total, which, as Zarya, you're putting down so much damage on everybody, right? You're just lobbing in, those alternate fires, putting down tons of damage on everybody. I think you should be able to come up with a little bit more than 7. I mean, come on.
Well, again, tough cookies in general for the Valiant there. Remember, they didn't have to play that Winston-based composition on defense, or at least they thought that they would get punished if they did not do so. The NYXL haven't really demonstrated they want to play DPS heavy, but here we go.
Yeah, so New York on defense here, they come out with the Winston version of the 3-3. This is the map, one of the maps that you'll see a lot of teams come out with Winston on defense, because the offensive side here on Volskaya has a ton of verticality, a lot of use for Pharah and double sniper comps, and some weird triple or quad DPS.
I wonder how well these teams know each other, because neither of them have actually gone and played like a DPS heavy composition on the attacking side. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Actually, I do believe that we're relatively frequent scrim partners. I'll have to double check that. Kareem, he takes a lot of damage just to try and get up into that building in the middle. But the Valiant at least have created that kind of space. Now, notice Mano and Meko always together. Meko taking a little too much damage there, but he's not punished for it. And now the Valiant push up. Mano is looking for a way to get into the backline here. He sees Izayaki slightly split, but the Valiant are constantly watching Mano to make sure they can jump on him. Jonak just gets completely blown up by Fate there, charged into a wall of all places, and Mano's looking worse for wear. This doesn't look great so far for New York.
Yeah, they're just going to jump up. They're going to give this up completely. So right off the bat, NYXL, once Jonak drops, you want to gauge how important he is. Once he falls, they decided to just give up the point. Mono switches over to Reinhardt now. You have a 50% ult charge advantage here to Fate.
I mean, you want to talk about playmaking potential, Matt? Talk about a Reinhardt pinning a Zenyatta to start a fight. That's just mental. Kariba close to that Graviton surge. Though in Fate, yes. Having a look around that right-hand side to see if there's any extra players lying in wait for New York. And there are. Oh, there are. Transcendence, though. Here comes the start of the fight here. Everyone pushing forward to the side of the Valiant. Kareem, let's go with that Graviton surge. And New York look very quiet. They look very average right now. Sound barrier here just to keep the fight going. The party don't stop for the Valiant. Self-destruct, Mano shields up, but he's forced away from the point. All this time, the Valiant are just taking further control here. Meko's mech removed from the fight. You can see that Discord orb there being placed on the back line of the NYXL, while up towards the side. Mano is trying to make the difference here. That's the running from Libero. Is it going to be enough healing? Probably not, but a sound barrier definitely helps. They get agilities, and Jonak finds the pick, as he always tends to do, on towards Fate. Now the Valiant are down to 3 players. Kareem removed surgically from that setup. The NYXL can breathe a sigh of relief, but Matt, that was close.
Yeah, it is 2 ticks over to the Valiant, though. So you see, they keep the progress up until the second tick at the top of your screen. The arrow is the 84%. But man, I bet that is a fight where they probably would have liked to close out the first half, their offensive attack there. I mean, they had a big ultimate advantage coming in, with Mono switching over to Reinhardt there. So now Mono's got to shatter the line up here. Jonak with a Transcendence. You could get aggressive here, just kind of like we saw the Valiant do. They knew they didn't have support ult, so they got it aggressive early. As Fate just steps on the point here. Kareem trying to get up top.
Looks like the Valiant probably waiting again for that Transcendence from Izayaki. They have it now. So both teams have those ultimates to bring into this next fight. And Kareem looking for a good position to set that Graviton up from. Here it comes, though. Earth Shatter, Graviton surge. Pretty risky, but it looks like it's worked out pretty well for the Valiant so far. Self-destruct. Oh no! They're so split! The Valiant, they were scattered to the 4 winds before they even got hit by that self-destruct, man. All over the place on that point.
Yeah, and I think, Fate maybe goes for a charge, thinks he's going to connect and be able to turn and put the shield up. Does not happen. Although the Valiant do lose that fight, and it's cool to see the self-destruct, but they do come into the next one, and they have the Shatter still. You're going to have Rally. When you take a look at the top of the screen for NYXL, you have no Transcendence there. You just have this grab. So if you can survive this grab, maybe even with the sound barrier that Cookie's building up, maybe the Valiant can make something out of this.
At least one support ult is what the Valiant are going to need. Oh, Kookie picked off! This time, the Valiant know better than to try and hang around any longer than they otherwise should. It's Fate pummeled as he tries to get out the door. And the NYXL will chase for a little bit more. Or have Izayaki to boots.
And you can You can live with some early deaths from your Lucio in like 1 or 2 fights, but the two really big deaths that Cookie's had at the beginning of these fights are fights where like he needs to stay alive. You know, the one on Hollywood, and he had the sound barrier basically.
Or his ultimate is a core component of the strategy to win.
And then right here, you know, you're going to have a barrier and rally before they have 2 support ults coming in, and he falls. That gives, you know, Jonak and Animo time to work towards their ultimates, which is really going to kind of put the fight on even keel as we come in.
Space probably just checking over the building to see who is sitting on the high ground. And Fate, I mean, he'd love a good Earth Shatter, but he needs the NYXL all to be on the same level, which means the Valiant need to force them to commit to the point in their entirety. Big hit from Fate there as he keeps that shield up. That shield's getting low, Matt. Down to half now. Discord all placed on Fate. He's got to chill for a moment. I mean, that grab's not going to give him too many options, I don't think. There it is. Then he gets knocked down by the Earth Shatter. No one for the Valiant has actually fell from the same move on the side of the NYXL. This is going to force New York to go for the rally to try and come forward, and Jonak needs to get the Transcendence in play. Even though it was a little bit later than the start of the fight, Fate had already gone down. So New York was still operating on all cylinders, and the Valiant, again, commit a lot of ultimates to the fight, come up with no more than that gained in the first engagement on this point.
And it's so tough for the Valiant to push into this, because NYXL, they're positioning their Zarya up on the high ground, and you're able to also get Jonak up on the high ground. So you land the Discord onto Fate, and I mean, he either jumps around the corner, and they just wait it out, or you have to use your Zarya bubble to break it. You know, they get rid of the Discord. The issue is because you have that height advantage, you can lay the Discord down again, and you still are just pumping damage down into Fate, where there's nothing he can really do about it.
The further Fate comes forward, the better angle you can get over his shield to Discord him as well. Here's a self-destruct grab combo, but there's no one left for the aftermath. Just could go down. Space does a great job to open things up, though. Looking decent for the Valiant here. They're 1 player down, make it 2, but Nene falls to Izayaki. Gets a little bit too close to the Valiant players that were caught in that graviton, and now Jonak has to step onto the point. Remember, 2 ticks already for the Valiant, puts them in a great position just to stick around for long enough to end the round. Animo trying to fly over the top, Discord overapplied. Now Nene's going to drop down, but Izayaki has a Transcendence if the Valiant need to go for the nuclear option. The rally used to keep the Valiant nice and topped up, and that should serve them well. And they get onto that point. Had such a great start in the first fight, Matthew, then they were ground down, slowed up. But New York, another confident defense turns against them. The Valiant get the second point. Next half, right around the corner. NYXL try and end another Valiant push with a Graviton Bomb combo that just goes awry. Nene still, Matt, putting out huge amounts of damage in that half. 24% of his team's overall damage, just looking sick.
He's the one up on the high ground with Jonak, just putting down so much damage onto Fate. You know, I kind of said to you, it's like, it's such a tough position for Fate and the Valiant to play out of, because you burn the Zarya bubble to get rid of Discord. NYXL could jump down and just jump right on to Fate and push him.
They just wait until he's low enough as well.
And then if Fate goes in and kind of goes to the right corner underneath and puts the shield up and blocks some of that damage, oh, by the way, you have no shield for everybody else coming in. So then Jonak just throws his Discord orb onto space. They start to chunk him down. There's nothing they could do.
It's worth noting in those situations, sometimes if you're the Reinhardt and you get discorded at all, that's enough for you to back away. You know, you want to try and prevent the Zen from getting eyes on you, but when he has that high ground, it's easy to get locked on. Here's NYXL with that DPS composition finally now against the Valiant.
And it's interesting they go with the DPS even after they see them running the Winston. Because we talk about, you know, I don't think it's like the answer, like the exact counter, but it is probably the best you can do here against the quad DPS is to run the Winston 3-3.
Yeah, it's probably a bit disingenuous to call it scissors, paper, rock.
Yeah.
Now, the Houston Outlaws tried something like this against the Boston Uprising, and they kept losing their Zenyatta in a lot of these fights, and that's all you have to do. Get aggressive on those less durable targets, and the NYXL might have to go back to the drawing board on this one.
And that's exactly why you need the Winston. The Winston can just pick a target, jump on them up on the high ground. And with, like, let's say you want to throw your Diva up there as well, and you can just take out some of these low HP targets. You're only running one support here. For NYXL, Mercy obviously with a res, you can bring them back to life, but they're already dead. Doesn't really do you any good, so.
Jonak will have to be very self-sufficient. Notice that space gets hacked there as Mecca is definitely on the hunt. And Jonak will be tickling from the backside of the point. So the Valiant just need to, hold up in this heat, being pressured from multiple sides. Nene has open sight lines, but he has been spotted out by Izayaki. 2 orbs to the face, clearly not enough to force Nene back, but losing Mecca here again, another pause for thought for the NYXL. Libero stays in this fight. He's convinced he's going to be able to find something here.
The positioning here from the Valiant's been really good. Then nobody kind of clumping up, allowing the bar to just put down tons of damage. It'll be...
That's the pick!
Yeah, Mono uses his minefield, so gonna clear this out. Fate gonna use the Primal Rage. Just a few ultimates invested here from the Valiant. I wonder if we see a change here from NYXL. A few players just backing out to the spawn right away.
I bet you Jonak feels safer going up against the Zen as Zen and not as Tracer here. Izayaki felled him to start that previous fight.
You probably stay on this for another push if you're New York. I mean, there's no point to switch off of this when you have, Imprecise Valkyrie, EMP, Rocket Barrage, Pulse Bomb coming online, and you just saw them use a ton of ults.
But when will it be enough? When will NYXL be convinced they need to switch? Perhaps it's just sheer waste of ultimates they're hoping to employ here and capturing the point. A minute 32 left now as Nene ascends to the high ground, but the Valiant will be expecting him to be set up here. It's a pretty common spot. That's why you see Fade drop down, but there's the first casualty on the side of the Valiant. Karib is removed by Mecco. Not an easy target to burst down Desire, but now he follows up with an EMP. It was Agilities having his abilities stripped from him, but still the Valiant are able to turn on to Mecco. Libero needs to make ends meet. He has to make an impact now. The barrage will be crucial, but he can't go up with the self-destruct ticking. Now might be his time. Fly low to the ground, looking for Agilities. The Brigitte manages to slide on out there with that shield bash.
And they only connect with Agilities with the EMPs. See, Libero just trying to rain down some rockets.
He needs more.
Yeah, I mean, the barrier from Fate coming out, space. He actually used his self-destruct to get back in the mech. Killed Nene, who's playing a Widow, outside of his mech. Nene switches over to Soldier 76, trying to get to the high ground. New York's really committed to this, Mitch. Only 40 seconds left here on the clock.
Yeah, maybe 2 committed. Jonak's Pulse Bomb there doesn't quite work. You saw him on the left of your screen up on the high ground. He'll again be looking to try and find a Zen. Graviton used immediately to try and catch her up. Manu, the Wrecking Ball doesn't go any further. He goes for the mines and Fate walks into it. Libero, a little bit on timing there on that barrage. He's not able to find a target. Space now being pressured back inside the bunker, and that capture progress is accruing. Transcendence now so the Valiant can actually push out and do some fighting, and they crush Dynamo. Don't give the Mercy any room to work whatsoever. 9 seconds remain, but the NYXL one by one are being cut off at the knees. No Nene on the high ground here, the Soldier 76. He has to make a huge play here, and he knows he's struggling. Now he's been spotted, forced away. Has to go for the health pack, but Jonak gets run down. And that looks textbook from the LA Valiant, shutting down the DPS-centric approach of the New York Excelsior. Very staunch, tank-focused defense. The wins still look very good for Fate. They can't complain. Map 4 is right around the corner.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Blizzard Arena. 3 maps down, and the Valiant starts to nose ahead in this series. I think that was an interesting learning experience for us as well, to see why teams play Winston in that triple tank, triple support setup out of fear of their opponents trying to go for like stacking damage dealing characters.
Yeah, I mean, you need the Winston to be able on defense, playing against that quad DPS to jump on, whether it's the Widowmaker, Soldier 76,
whoever really.
Yeah, but just pick a target and just pressure them out, because you only have the Mercy heals available for the team with that quad DPS. Mercy would have to fly, put herself in harm's way to heal any of those, and then you get 2 kills there. Right?
So what happens if the Valiant play a Reinhardt in that triple tank, triple support? What does that look like?
So you have to really just play around Reinhardt's shield. If you're not playing around the shield, Reinhardt's just standing there, just taking.
So everyone has to play really close together, right?
Yeah, and you have to group up, and then that's where you could see like the Pharah putting down tons of
Wrecking Ball,
damage,
Tracer,
Wrecking Ball, right?
Sombra wrecking you all with an EMP.
All it takes in that situation is like 2 good rockets from a Pharah, a ground slam from a Wrecking Ball, and then Tracer coming out the back and picking up a kill or 2. This map, you won't see any of it. This map, you're just going to see Reinhardt triple tank, triple support versus Reinhardt triple tank, triple support.
So eyes on Zarya bubbles being effective. Teams not taking too much damage before they engage. And those rallies to signify the beginning of fights. See that repair pack quickly thrown on Mano there. A quick trade. Lucio for Brigitte. And the Valiant seem to be comfortable enough to keep pushing on with that one. A lot of damage being taken by Mano. Libero also looking a little bit low. Meko forced to back away as well.
NY still going to have to give up a ton of space here, because you lose your Lucio, so you lose all type of disengage with the speed boost.
And your engage, essentially. If you did want to fight, if you got one of the enemy players down to 20%, you want to go for it, you can't.
And all Valiant has to do there to create this much space is amp up speed and go forward. And NYXL has no option to fight that. They just have to back all the way out.
I think people easily underestimate just how powerful the speed boost is in a game like this when you're playing with less mobile heroes. But now, the NYXL are back, and they're definitely going to be standing their ground here on this checkpoint. Fade is absolutely looking for an air shatter, but he gets nothing for it. Nene actually looked like he was stunned around the corner. Fade's lucky to be alive, though. He dropped the shield with a Discord orb on him, but around the side, Nene was taken down. That shatter was capitalized on. Meko's removed now from his mech. And there's going to be a Transcendence now, hastily again employed into this fight, but it might be a way for NYXL to come back. They're holding their ground. Kareem is knocked down. Self-destruct over the top in space, gets at least a moment to get back inside his mech, but outside of that, the NYXL look like they can hold on, but here's a sound barrier. The counter-attack from the Valiant here. They need to get aggressive with that Lucio ult, but it looks like they've been so far away that aren't able to get to grips with the NYXL.
Oh, and I think they get Mecha low, and they want to push in with the sound barrier there, but he uses the self-destruct to get his mech back, and he gets away. They're not able to finish him off. I think it's because space is a little bit low. Had that Discord on him, had to go to the side. And this will be the grab that comes out from NYXL. It'll be the Transcendence that comes in here for the Valiant. They're going to use the rally here, too.
It looks like Mane tried to get a pin inside the Graviton, but Kuki booped him off course. And the Valiant still come in with 6. Now the Transcendence from Dranak, the NYXL, they're getting a little bit antsy. They want to end this fight and get some breathing room, but the Valiant aren't giving it to them. They're trying to choke him out. Now they're pressuring forward. Earth Shatter there. Not much from that one for Mane. Was going to be a sound barrier now for the NYXL. Nene falls. Libero trying to come forward, but Mane was knocked on his backside as well. Fate gets a repair pack behind the payload, and he gets 3 with the Earth Shatter. That's what he was looking for. Meko will be desuited. Jonak just knocked away. Agilities does go over the edge, but the Valiant have enough players unsubmerged to capture the point.
So finally the Valiants are able to take it there. That fight extends pretty long as they're able to get that Graviton Surge. Kareem puts it on the wall, and then once they start to pick up some kills out of that, that's when it really starts to go in favor of the Valiant. They kind of got the hard part here out of the way. We see so many teams kind of get stopped before getting that first point. And if you're NYXL, you know how great defense is on this map. You kind of pick it here, to start off on the defensive side. You think you can build some momentum, get that, first stop. Now with 3 minutes to go for the Valiant to potentially take the second point, you start to worry a bit.
Well, look at Nene, low, forced to drop back into his own backline after that one. And the entirety of the NYXL have to back out just because the poke or that pre-fight damage favored the Valiant so heavily. They've got both support ultimates as well, so the Valiant can afford to be aggressive, get Kuki to propel them forward with a speed boost, look for a chance to open up a fight. Oh, cheeky Graviton. It catches Libero. Not enough to quite get the pick. They do get it. Nene's supposed to bubble himself. Now he's going to get caught up. His bubble has burst immediately. Self-destruct over the top. Oh! Perfect timing from Manu. He sets up the combo, but it's only 2 players down from the Valiant. The Valiant still want to try and push forward, but now in the presence of the Transcendence, Los Angeles looking a bit more sheepish. Izayaki's cut down. Mano going to be a lot of problems for space here with the hammer. Mano coming up with a quick fix at the 11th hour. Great timing on that Earth Shadow.
It's still wild to me that sometimes last year they would take Mano out of the game. It's just, it's such a sick shatter there. Is the self-destruct, he times it perfectly, by the way. You know, Fate kind of, I think, knows that Mano has to shatter, but he has really no other option. And as soon as he flicks the shield up just a little bit, that's when the shatter comes down. Just absolutely perfect timing there out of Mano to land that. Coming in the next fight, though, Kariba's already got another grab here, Mitch. You know, putting down so much damage on Zarya, you know, when you get fully charged up.
I mean, he has 70% average energy on this map so far. Looking for more now. Oh, it was eaten! Again, Karib tries to, you know, I guess subtly flick it off to the right side, but Mecha was ready this time.
To be fair, it's the same exact thing he just tried. Is the self-destruct from space goes over the top. Izayaki drops first. This will be NYXL. They get aggressive with some ultimates. They end up taking the fight. You know, when you're space and you see the grab go for nothing, you kind of wanted to combo the grab plus your self-destruct. At that point, you're just trying to, you know, throw it up in the sky, see what happens, and get nothing for it.
And look, Jonak was up to the high ground. The NYXL didn't look like they were worried about that sort of haphazardly thrown self-destruct. So Jonak gets to make the most of the fact that space was actually getting back into his mech, getting 2 kills on that Zenyatta, which couldn't be mitigated by a D.Va.
And Karibi gets the Graviton Surge up on that staircase, the fight previously. Like, you almost can't come in and take the same exact angle, the same exact approach, and try and get the same exact grab. Yeah, you know, Meko, way too smart. He sees it coming.
Space lingering for a potential boop off of the high ground, but in fact, it's the LA Valiant that get knocked down. They're split in half. This fight could be over. They need to move quickly, and the NYXL identify that. They see stragglers, blood in the water, and they try and chase it up. Izayaki was on an island, essentially, there. Lovely little play. The boop off the high ground. Love to see it.
And it's those little plays that allow you to save some of these ultimates, and it's so huge, especially, you know, obviously in any meta, but this meta, to be able to win fights with only investing maybe 1 ultimate, right? You know, they end up using the rally there, I believe an Earth Shatter, but still, you know, you hold on to some of the armor on a few of these heroes, you come back, you still have the big hitters with the Graviton Surge.
Oh, it's do or die for the Valiant now. A couple less ultimates to work with here. It needs to be a picture-perfect Transcendence in response to a grab. Karib gets caught up in that one, so does Fate. Immediately, here comes the Transcendence. Finally trying to find a burst kill amongst it again. Mekko's done it. He breaks through. NYXL find 2 kills. That's all they need here. And once again, the Valiant will slump in the later stages of a payload-based map. Struggling to keep going in them in this series, and that might open the door for a map 5 here. NYXL bring the Valiant to a screeching halt. Wings clipped and all. And now that's their chance to take this one to a map 5. They'd be upset about the Volskaya result. They have a chance to make amends here. Don't go anywhere, guys. It's getting spicy. Say hello to Mekko. One half of NYXL's really devastating, you know, combo that allows him to get all these kills from his self-destructs. Mano being the other half. Okay, so a lot of those, you know, explosive teamfight winning ults from Mekko. Mano's the one putting his virtual body on the line to make sure there's no shielding to prevent the fallout, as it were.
But, I mean, Mekko, so look, the self-destructs, obviously, you have to give some credit to Mano in this, as he's landing like shatters or pins. But it's also, you know, maybe even the biggest play of that is when, you know, Mekko kind of eats that grab from Karib through the stairs there. Oh. So that is a killer, man. And Kuki at the end there, you know, he dies with sound barrier. So we saw that on Hollywood, you know, getting close to having the sound barrier towards the end, dies with self-destruct. That time falls in the same exact manner. You don't get to use that sound barrier towards the end.
Out the gates, the NYXL. Valiant with the Reinhardt, no Winston shenanigans here.
And to be fair, with how defensive New York plays as a team sometimes, You could hold here if you're the Valiant. You really only need like a few fights to go your way. You start building up that ultimate advantage, and you're good.
Yeah, they're waiting for the sound barrier. Fate pressured very heavily. Again, remember, one use of the repair pack from Agilities. That's all they really have until it goes on that cooldown. That's the only form of burst healing the Valiant have. The only form of ways to quickly erase little positioning errors that cause your frontliners to take a chunk of damage. They're going again, Matt. Speed boost. Straight into the face of the Valiant. The Valiant, this time, do not disengage. Fate gets discorded here. Great boot. Space, creating exactly his namesake there for the Valiant to get him out of trouble.
Nene getting charged up, though, and they're going to be able to take out Fate. The quick discord there onto the Reinhardt. Is that what you saw there from NYXL? So they kind of like went around the corner, and they were going to try and bait that they were going to speed boost up to the high ground, because we have seen teams do that on offense. They go to the high ground, they let the Zarya pump down some damage, and then they speed boost and come right around the corner. I think they may have caught the Valiant off guard there a little bit.
Yeah, 2 speed boosts forward. Twice the Valiant failed to disengage, or at least properly. Here's the Graviton surge. Jonak says, well, okay, I guess I'm going to do my thing right about now. Earthshatter here. Fate charging straight in towards Libero. Mana was trying to be the balance breaker there. And the NYXL look very good in this push here. Jonak is just going to 1v1 Kareem and get the job done. NYXL over the line, looking much like Hollywood. Matt, why are the Valiant not disengaging when they see the NYXL hurtling towards them with that Lucio speed boost?
It's tough for the Valiant because they want to use that speed boost to get right back onto the point, and then you don't really have it to get on back. You're stuck in the Graviton surge. Nothing you can really do that. And then once you lose like 1 or 2, you don't want to just start throwing ultimates here. I mean, they do end up holding on to their sound barrier. Animo, of course, for NYXL. Playing the Lucio, holds on to his here. Fate has this shatter. How do you want to go about landing this? Because you're giving up some space here. So you see, that gold tick at the top. That's all NYXL has to get to, that little golden box victory. They have to know Fate has a shatter here. They don't want to all kind of line up in the choke here. Let's see how they decide to play it.
Animo just doesn't want to get shattered.
Yeah, he wants to play really...
If Animo doesn't get shattered, NYXL are probably okay. Just with that, he'll be able to use the sound barrier. He won't be oh, Fate. That's what you've got to avoid doing. Fate now needs to literally turn his back, and that's giving more space to the NYXL, letting them come forward. The Valiant get proactive now with their own sound barrier, but that gets absolutely nothing. The Earthshatter only hits a shielded Nene, and Fate dejectedly has to return back to the checkpoint and get ready for the next engagement.
And you see him there playing around that pole. He's trying to get rid of that Discord orb, but he actually gets grabbed up into the Graviton surge here. It looks like you're just going to have a D-Mech here on the Mykles that is pretty big.
Space, great job. He used all of his defense matrix there to keep Kareev alive until the Transcendence from Izayaki arrived. Izayaki had to cross the alleyway to keep that Zarya alive, and crucially, Kareev now has the damage from that previous fight to use grab. But 3 minutes and 21 seconds is a long time for the Valiant to have to hold their ground here. You feel like eventually NYXL are going to come up with the right answer, even if it's by accident.
You'd think. I mean, one good grab, right? You play the ult game in your favor, and you're able to take this if you're New York. But you saw there, the pressure that Fate's under it. This is going to be a really fast engage. They're going to use Rally and push right in. New York, they're not going to invest anything, Mitch. They know the fight is over as soon as that first kill goes down.
Again, Mecca was hoping to split the Valiant up in the backline there. The Valiant had already committed as 6, so all he could do was sort of stand in between and try and get their attention. Maybe, use defense matrix from behind the Valiant players in case someone's trying to get cute like Kareev with another grab.
You saw, though, in the previous fight, going back to it, Fate, it's like one of the worst positions to be stuck in. You have the Discord on you. You have no shield. Your Zarya has no bubble, and you're kind of like out in the open to where the car has to get to. You have to just kind of like break line of sight for a little bit.
Exactly what he was doing. He was using the archways to try and stay alive.
But you break line of sight, Mono comes through and hits a huge shatter, and your whole team's dead.
No one's shielding your team.
It's tough.
Again, health bars are important here. Again, you'll know the NYXL want to fight when you hear the rally pop. And there it is. Time to go. Quick Graviton response here from the Valiant. Good way to at least give themselves some space. Now they can back up a little bit. You see they're coming down the stairs and again setting up behind Fate. Good little disengage. Even if it cost them the grab, it also split the NYXL between high and low ground. Now New York have regrouped and recovered. The Valiant have to go to the low ground as well. And this grab from Nene could be disastrous here. Fate trying to conserve his shield, but knows that if he takes too much laser from Nene, it's over. Kareev again gets caught on his own. Again, it's going to be the bubble. The Transcendence committed. Kareev goes down, though. All the King's horses and all the King's men couldn't keep that man alive. But Mono is down in response to the Valiant. At least get a 1-for-1 trade. Libero's fallen as well.
And when Mono dies, they have to run and they have to spread because they know Fate has this shatter. If they all just kind of play around the corner and they want to take that fight, Fate hits like a 4 or 5 player shatter and the fight is over. As you know, we're in a minute and 20 seconds here, Mitch. You know, the payload's gonna start moving backwards. And we've seen this before.
We've passed from the realm of you're bloody dreaming, mate, to this actually is possible.
A big advantage though for New York. You got Barrier and Transcendence coming into this fight.
0 support ults for the Valiant, Matt.
Yeah. It's got to be a massive shatter and a self-destruct here.
Fate will need to also block Mano's shatter, or Mano will have to beef it, one of the two. See Mano standing quite far forward. I like this from NYXL. Here's a rotation towards the left side. It's a bit risky though. They're tempting the rest of Valiant to push up. Fate knows he has to go in and commit to that shatter after he kind of misses it. It's going to be a rally from Agilities, but Fate's taking far too much damage now early in the fight. He needs to back away. Break line of sight with the pillar. Agilities the first casualty, and oh no! Oh! He's gone over the edge, but he gets Jonak. At least a 1-for-1 here. Getting rid of Jonak is crucial. Izayaki can give the Valiant a buffer that they need. With that Transcendence in this fight, the Valiant have to play safe. They have to play sneaky to stay away, and Agilities returns on the Wrecking Ball. Tries to bring it down, but he hits the ledge instead of his intended targets. Despite this, Mano and Nene both very low. Space gets DMX, but the Valiant are here in numbers. The NYXL don't really have the momentum.
And Kuki's going to have a sound barrier here in just a second. They got to get a use of it. It's going to be a self-destruct that goes in the sky. Doesn't connect with anything. Big barrier connects with 5 players.
Important. The Valiant need that sound barrier to fight, and they're going to push forward a little bit more here. This is the series hanging in the balance. Kareem, the Edgelord, joins the fray. Space is DMX, so Kareem has to be the difference maker here. He gets stunned immediately. Libero sends him packing with the whip shot. Now Earthshatter. Mecca the only one knocked down with that one of the Transcendence brought into the fight, so the Valiant at least can keep fighting despite being at a player disadvantage. Fate is low. Harmony Orb barely keeping him alive. Minefield over the point. Fate falls. Nene walks straight into a mine and gets blown up as well. Self-destruct. Mecca gets the job done. This series ain't over yet. What insanity in the last moments of that fight. And the NYXL, you can never count them out. True guts and grits at the end of that one. Nat 5's around the corner. I don't need to tell you this is good. You know it. See you in a bit. What was that?
That was tough. That last fight was about 45 minutes.
Yeah,
it just went and went and went and went. And, it's fitting it ends with just another self-destruct.
Yes, I mean, that seems to be the open and shut case to a lot of these team fights here. Real grit, I think, as I said, demonstrated by New York. They were in a position, losing position down. Yeah. Players managed to come back in. Transcendence time from Jonak was very good. And the birthday boy, Izayaki, with a very strong performance on the side of the Valiant. I think a map 5 is what we deserve.
Oh, it is a crushing loss, though, for the Valiant. I mean, they're so close to taking this series. We know how important this series is in terms of, the overall, stage,
Absolutely.
right? You're just trying to stay in to make the stage playoffs. This is a series that you really need to win if you're the Valiant. And you can see, I turned around, I saw their faces as they end up losing this game. Oh, the space.
Oh,
the defeat comes up on the screen.
The agility's looking like a beetroot out there as well. Pent up frustration. I mean, a lot of you guys, I'm sure, have been in similar situations, when you're just that close. And in theory, the spawn advantage was kind of even. Both teams were about the same distance away.
In a super weird way, it's much better, or well, okay, it's not much better, but it feels much better to get blown out than to lose a game like that.
Yeah.
Because like right there, like you know how good you are, you're so close, and then just to lose in heartbreaking fashions. It's killer going into a game.
Oh, it's your boy, come on! That's right.
No Australian bias there.
No, it's the control specialist.
Yeah, control specialist.
And look at him, already mouthing off, popping off. That's what we'd like to see. Yes!
You think that's what happened
Yes,
over the break? He went into the coaches. He's like, I got an idea. I'll be the control specialist. I'll come in as the control specialist Lucio player.
I mean, look, the Valiant looked extremely good on map 1. Yeah. No bias. They just look very solid in general. So they will need to close this one out convincingly here, Matt.
Ton of momentum though in NYXL's favor. I mean, you win a map like that. Yeah. It's look. I think maybe that's like, look, you bring Cus back in because it's control, right? You're joking around. Like it seems like he'll play.
It
like
probably is the map types.
It is the map type, but also you want the experience on the stage. You want your hype
cool
man,
head,
so to speak, the cool man, right? So you bring him in, try and get a win. Is Yaki's birthday today? Shout out to Yaki.
I did.
Can't hear us, but
yeah.
He can go back and watch.
He knows it's his birthday. He doesn't need to be told. But yeah, I mean, he'd love a win
here.
Yeah,
it's true. He does know. I mean, yeah, he should know.
Yeah. And again, just two teams playing each other very close on Rialto. The frustration will be there. Sometimes a change of environment or a change of setup here can really reinvigorate you heading into an important map 5 like this. And for both of these teams, this match has great significance, not only in terms of the rivalry, but again, like you said, Matt, in order to find those playoffs. Let's start things off here on Lighthouse.
And I think the toughest, so I think like getting wins in this stage, I think you're going to see a lot of like game 5 scenarios. I think, you know, it's going to be really important to see the map count. If you can win some of these series like 3-1, 4-0, it's massive because we've had so many series go to game 5 just because with the way the meta is right now, you know, you build up a lot of these ultimates, you're investing like 5, 6 in a fight, get them right back the next fight.
So the Winston base, 3-3 here for the Valiant. They do want to dive. They want to be the aggressors. It means they don't have to group up so much around a Reinhardt shield, but they don't find that first pick in this fight. They need to find an advantage. Again, Fate delves deep into the backline, but he's kind of beleaguered, sat on all sides. But elsewhere, Izayaki finds Libero and makes it a 6v5 player setup.
And I think you come out here on Winston if you're the Valiant, and it's really just a lot of respect for Libero and his Pharah play, and the potential here on Lighthouse. We do see Pharah play quite often. So they could come out with like a Pharah Sombra type of combination, really give you some trouble. So the Valiant win the first fight, it'll get the point. You know, everybody get nuts up here for NYXL. Gonna come back and fight it. Nene doesn't die, so you end up keeping some of that energy here.
That'll be important. Look, it's not as if like 40-odd energy is going to be important, but it's much easier to get up to full charge and really be wrecking people.
It's much better to go from 0 to 40 than like, you know, you want to go from 40 to 70, right?
You got it. Kareem, Graviton Surge is available from here. We see Space go a little bit low. Trying to shepherd him, at least block some of the damage with his body. Graviton into the side wall here. No chance for that one to be eaten up by Meko. Shadow being thrown in here. Mono doesn't really find what he's looking for, but this could hurt. This could hurt. Kareem, the casualty, and Mono finds a follow-up charge onto Agilities. And the NYXL, after 61% down, finally regained control. And the sound barrier in the back pocket's going to go a long way.
It's a huge amount of percentage to give up to the Valiant, but you almost have no choice. You have to give it up as the Valiant, they'll switch over to the Reinhardt version of the triple tank, triple support. Obviously no shatter opportunity here to combo with the self-destruct, nothing to combo with Space's self-destruct. You probably hold it, unless you get like a first pick or two and then you want to get a remech to get back in the fight.
Maybe you can get your Brigitte behind the enemy Reinhardt and, you know, find a way to get a shield bash still.
Or a whip shot out of the way.
Yeah, that's also a thing. Here comes the self-destruct into the back. You see the Anima was knocked back. He was a little bit nervous, so he does go for the sound barrier. Look, I think for the Valiant, you're happy enough to trade that self-destruct in for a sound barrier and a rally.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a very good trade. The issue is I mean, look how far behind Kareev is in terms of grab charge to Nene. Nene is going to have another grab. You're going to have Transcendence here for NYXL.
Well, Nene has, he has a lot more average energy as well. Nene's just, I mean, it depends on how long you're alive, because when you die, Isaiah, you go back to 0. So obviously, the more you die, the more you get reset on that percentage. Here's the grab. Nene gets this one off pretty well, and the Valiant looking not happy with that one. Izayaki. Ouch.
Yeah, nothing the Valiant can do there to defend that. They knew exactly what they were walking into. And also to mention, Fate did come out on the Winston first. Much harder to gain charge, when you're bubbling the Winston as opposed to Reinhardt. Reinhardt, pretty straightforward. Throw the bubble on him. He puts a shield down, goes in with the hammer. Builds up a ton of charge. Let's see how the Valiant decided to play this. Looks like they're going to go for the high ground, try and jump right down. Mono recognizes it, backs up around the pole.
Yeah, he was trying to listen out for them, I think, by pressing up close against that wall. Okay, disengage here for NYXL.
Almost willing to give up the point.
Mino's calling for them to go forward. He wants to push up. He gets whip shot back there and actually kind of takes away the momentum for the NYXL. So now they have to sort of reset and have a fight on their own terms that they're looking for here.
Hitting a shatter here around the pole or the stairs is going to be really difficult as well.
Fate wants to hit a safe fire strike to get his as soon as possible. Mane pushing in though. Achilios was knocked to the ground and the Transcendence wasn't enough to save him. Self-destruct over the top here. Custer gets away from that one. Definitely dodging in. Fate charges Mano out of the way. Mano was healed back up and now Fate is split off with the rest of his team, but he gets Jonak. He was in like a 1v4 situation. He still finds the enemies in Yana and gets away. He's just going for a spar on the lower levels. 97%. Sunny's got to give right now. Nene comes forward. Sound barrier for the NYXL. They need to make the difference here and now. Space. Self-destruct. He got Mano. The boot was perfect. They got behind Mano and knocked him forward, but it may not be enough. The Valiant are down to 3. Just 3. And New York looked very strong coming into this fight. At 99% overtime, New York should be able to flip things back. Custer is run down, and around the corner, Kareev is hiding. Getting staggered here means he won't be able to return to the fight. Round number 1, New York.
So, man, Nene actually uses the grab really early there, and he gets absolutely nothing for it. New York has to feel pretty good about taking that first point. We'll have the next one coming up right after the break.
Look, I'll be real here, Matt. Fate versus the world, and that last little play there when he was on his own as Reinhardt and still found Jonak was cute, but it did cause a Valiant to be split. Not having their main tank there definitely hurt them in the ensuing fight, even if Custer managed to boot Mano into that self-destruct and get at least the 1 kill. Much more to be done now.
You see both teams coming out with the Winston version of the 3-3. As we have seen a lot more DPS heroes, no damage dealers used on this point specifically. Well,
see both Fate and Mino were taking huge amounts of damage here.
Barely gets out.
Gets out though. Both times these two teams have been able to shepherd their main tanks away from the fighting, keep them alive. Look at this rotation here for the Valiant. It does leave their backline a little exposed as Mano could interpose himself in the middle of them. But Fate and Space taking a lot of damage again. Point is being held by the Valiant here though. They do lose Fate. Jonak playing a dangerous game there, eventually backs around the corner. Graviton Surge being thrown in here. Space, get too much done. And Mano was picked up by Custer here, but the Valiant don't have the numbers. They want to keep the point for as long as they can, but the fight is done.
Yeah, Fate tries to dive right on top of Jonak, because Jonak's playing really aggressive. Right underneath, the windmill there inside the building, and they're not able to take Jonak out. You lose your main tank, and then you drop a grab in there, but you have the Transcendence, you have the sound barrier for NYXL to push on through. So I know at this point specifically, you can just, with the heroes that are on the map for both teams, you can extend the point and keep it contested for such a long time. Winston and D.Va able to just keep jumping back and forth, able to keep it in your favor. So you got to invest some of these ultimates to try and get it back.
How that doesn't get eaten, I have no idea. Nene just sends that one in. It works, and Fate gets caught out by the self-destruct again. The Valiant cannot fight this fight. They cannot give ultimate percentage across to New York by lingering and overstaying their welcome. So fortunately for them, having held the point for that first fight, given that 21%, is the difference between New York being at 50 now or at 70.
But this 48% is going to jump like close to 80 here real quick. I mean, these fights are going to go for a very long time, especially you got Primal Rage. Transcendence out. Jonak wants to fight this pretty close, the rest of the team.
Fate just trying to play in the backside here, but he's been spotted out by Nene. He can't really hang around for too long. Primal Rage from Mano, but it doesn't keep him alive. Space! Looks like Animo and Mano are blasting off again. And the Valiant retake control, not a moment too soon now. Izayaki being close to the Transcendence is a good omen for the Valiant, but that's about it. That they're really coming up on the cusp of course, Fate's Primal Rage conditionally can be impactful as well.
And in this series thus far, we've seen Mykles with 23 self-destruct kills. Those two for space will bump him up to 8. Huge disparity, but I think that's just NYXL playing around that self-destruct, using the shatters properly around it, using the boots and other ways to help Mykles get these kills. Auguste dies first, that's bad.
That cannot happen. Fate was able to avoid death by jumping out of the well, but he was too low. Izayaki commits the Transcendence when it shouldn't have been used. The Discord Orb meant Fate just got blown up far too quickly. And that support orb that I said that I was sitting on that was supposed to be a good omen, now is gone.
Auguste does get back into the fight here. He's just trying to go around, extend time, trying to get a boop off.
Gets him even.
Yep. Now flip the point back. You can play pretty close here if you're NYXL. You do have your own Graviton Surge. You do lose a lot of, the damage that the Reinhardt would have given you, switching over to Winston. But both teams going to be running the Winston here.
Space has to eat this grab. Without support ultimates, the Valiant lose the fight essentially instantly if any sort of decent grab is used by Nene. New York have 2 support ultimates. It's going to be so hard for the Valiant here. They must make a difference. Okay, there's the grab on both sides here. Mino with the first one to fall down here. Fate traded out. Both teams missing their main tanks. But it's 96%. The Valiant, despite missing their bastion of durability, still have to come forward. In a 5v5, this self-destruct could make a huge difference. Space tries to run away. Izayaki falls. A key piece for the Valiant goes missing. And now the bridge starts to crumble in overtime. Scant few members left on the point. Custer trying to keep the dream alive. He has a sound barrier if he can stay alive long enough, but he's forced off the point. Sound barrier, he can't use it. And a grueling 5-map affair. We'll see the NYXL once again rise to the top. God, Matt, that's tough for the Valiant. That's another map 5 in a row for them that they've fallen out of in the final map.
We're really early in the season here, but these are the type of losses you look back at end of the year, and if you're like 1 or 2 games out of the playoffs, it's even more crushing. You take a team like, you don't really have a great opportunity to win a lot of games against teams like NYXL. NYXL, they run through the league last year, right? One loss a stage pretty much. You have an opportunity to get a big win on the board that a lot of other teams won't get. That's a huge loss for the Valiant.
A series here where, New York tried to show a little bit of variety. They tried to come out with a heavy damage dealer composition. It just flat out didn't work. The Volskaya offering was very average, but they really come back here towards the end. I have to say, over the course of this series, the way that they've set up Mykles for success has been superb. Their focus is definitely being rewarded. And now we're going to head down to the floor with Danny and a very special Zenyatta player.
Thank you guys so much. What is up, everybody? I am here with Jonak from NYXL. Jonak, congratulations on the win. Now, you guys are on a winning streak. 3 wins, 0 losses. What sets NYXL apart from the rest of the Overwatch League teams? 자, 이번이 세 번째 우승을 하게 되는데 뉴욕 팀이 조나 선수가 보셨을 때는 뉴욕 팀이 좀 다른 점이 있다면, 다른 팀들과 다른 점이 있다면 뭐가 있을까요?
우리 팀이 좀 다른 팀이랑 다른 점은 만호 형이 훨씬 잘하는 것 같아요. 다른 라인보다.
So what sets us apart? I feel like Mono is better than any other Reinhardt users in the Overwatch League teams. Interesting. All right. Well, another thing is, there's been a lot of talk about who the best Zen user is in the league. And Jonak, as a Zen player and a former MVP of the inaugural season of Overwatch League, do you see yourself as the best Zenyatta player? 자, 질문 이해하셨나요? So, 그러니까 쉽게 말씀드리면은 지금 아직까지도 정욱 선수가 최고의 젠야타 유저라고 생각하십니까?
당연합니다.
Of course, I am the best. All right, thank you. That's all I have. Give it up for Jonak, everybody. Back to you guys, casters.
That seems pretty straightforward. I'd have to definitely...
Not many people can argue with
both
that.
points are something I find it very easy to agree with. I think that the first point as well, Mane looked excellent. Not only when we're talking about setting up for, for Mykles and really enabling him to get these incredible self-destructs, but also just in the head-to-head, the shatters were excellent. He was patient. He didn't look like he was forced out of position too often either.
Yeah, the thing with Mono is I feel like he was obviously one of the stronger main tanks last year. We can take a look at some of the highlights from the series, but he's not like a flashy player, right?
Nope.
Like, and I think with how great Jonak is, and then some of the other players on this roster, like Meko and Savioldi, and now we get Nene in there behind Flower. It's like Mono's greatness just kind of gets lost in the fact of like how great everybody is on this team. Where he is so. There's so many main tanks in the league who are great at one hero, great at another hero, whatnot. Mono's fantastic at all the tanks. He can play Reinhardt at an extremely high level. He can play an aggressive Winston. He can play a passive Winston. I feel like he is such an underappreciated player of sorts in the league. It's cool to see Jonak give him the shout on stage, but more people got to pay attention to Mono, man.
Yeah, it's a big reason for the success of the NYXL is that the emphasis isn't on the same players as it is for a lot of other teams. We talked obviously about Jonak being a player that they invested in heavily in-game. They put a lot of their economy into healing their damage. We've seen him, we've seen Meko now receiving that same attention with how impactful self-destruct is. New York are playing very well around it. I have to say, we talk about Fate and Mono in the head-to-head matchup. I'm happy with Fate. I definitely think he was challenged. I don't know if the Valiant really have the same structures for enabling their D.Va player space to get big bombs like that, but this fight was one of my favorites. It went for a long time. I love a bit of overtime action, but also both these teams just pulling out all the stops for us there. Yeah,
then Achilios, coming back to control where the Valiant were so good in our map #1, they ended up taking that control. This one wasn't pretty. It was really rough, and I think this loss almost comes right out of the Rialto loss. Like when you lost Rialto, you kind of lost this in a way. Like your team was just deflated. You were so close to the win, and then it's hard. We have those quick turnarounds, right? Where I play that next match, it's tough to get your mind back in the game, and I think it was a really tough one there on Achilios. It didn't go in favor of the Valiant.
Worth noting that Mono preferred not to play Winston when he could, but then when he brought it to bear on Achilios, it was very successful. Yes. But the player of the match, should I say, was not Mono. It was his offsider, Meko. I mean, he was set up to succeed, but the placement of a lot of these self-destructs, even unassisted, was very impressive.
Here's our Omen by HP player of the match. So you see just the perfect placement of these self-destructs, and when you see these self-destructs, you also have to give a shout to Mono. Obviously, you see the shatters here, setting them up perfectly and whatnot. Also, you needed, the thing about how good the Valiant were today in a loss, you needed 20+ self-destruct kills to get a win for NYXL.
In a map 5.
In a map 5. Like the Valiant, you obviously lose this series, it's really tough, but you have to look like they needed to use every self-destruct perfectly just to get out with a win here, and I think it's also a testament to how good NYXL is as a team, right? They're able to, you set these plays up every single time and execute them.
And it's clear to see the focus is different for the Valiant. They just don't put that much emphasis on setting up those self-destruct kills. They still get a good job done. I'm very happy to see the progression of both of these teams. Yeah. We hadn't seen enough, I feel like, from NYXL in the first week or so of play. Now this has changed up a little bit. It's good to see a couple more faces of them. But if you like Big D.Va self-destructs, we've got many more throughout the course of the day. More importantly, coming up next is New England's finest and the Dragons looking for their first breakthrough. A bit of a rivalry, a spicy match this one. If you want to learn more, stick around. We'll be back with that one after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.